start recording. So I am recording this, and the replay will be available on our blog, hopefully by the end of the day. And hi, everybody. There's a few of you that I haven't gotten to see in a while, so I'm so glad that you're here. And today we are going to discuss the Google Webmaster Guidelines. They are so very, very important, but I find that a lot of people kind of go to the page and then they're like, I don't know what this is. I don't understand what they're talking about. It can be very difficult. So today I just want to make it easier for you. That's the goal. And we're going to break this up into two parts so we can really go over each one in detail. And not only that, but look at how it applies to your own store. Because education is great, but if you don't know how to apply it, then there's no point. So if you haven't been to one of our webinars, my name is Shauna Siegel, and I'm the CEO of One Choice for Your Store. And if you have any questions at all, feel free to email us, support@1c4y.com. If you're on Twitter and you want to send me a quick message, or Facebook, I'm there too. So, and I would love to connect with you. So go over there and add me and let's talk. I love talking. So for those of you that don't know how I got started, it was about 1999, beginning of 2000, and I opened up my first Yahoo store, and I was a single mom of two wonderful boys, and I had just left a very abusive relationship, so I was doing everything I possibly could, and I want to make, I really wanted to be that picture-perfect mother, that we see like in all the magazines, but that was so not the case. This was me pulling out my hair, working in my jammies, going crazy, usually because my kids were in the background like, he's touching me and he's touching me and everything. So I have been there and done that. And now I help to build One Choice for Your Store so I could help other store owners. As I started working and building on my store, I wound up finding other mothers in forums to talk to about, all the joys of working from home with young children, and found that they needed some help with their store, and another one needed help with their store, and so on and so on and so on. And I actually learned that I really enjoyed helping other people, and that's how One Choice for Your Store was born. I guess, let's see, that was about 2003, 2004, and we became a Yahoo Small Business Partner, and as of last week, we are #1 on the developer list, which I'm like, yay, it only took 14 years. And we love to be, and this is probably my favorite role, is educator of all things SEO and Yahoo stores. I love SEO. I love teaching this stuff. And we have classes, if you're not aware, we have classes like Tuesday nights, which is for HTML and CSS. We have classes every Wednesday. It's a group coaching class where we learn how to make your store better. Right now we're on landing page optimization, and it's amazing. On Thursdays, we have a class that's kind of like a beginning, Yahoo store kind of class to help you learn the ins and outs of your stores. What I really love is I have a lot of store owners that have been around just as long as I have, and they're like, I didn't know that you could do that in the Yahoo store. So that's what makes my job fun, is like talking with you guys and doing this with you. So the Google Webmaster Guidelines are important, okay? Here's exactly what Google says about it. Following these guidelines will help Google find, index, and rank your site. So in the most basic of terms, what the heck does that mean, right? So what it means is that when you create your store and you have all these pages in your store, we want Google to find your store. But not only that, if you have 1,000 products, we want them to index, meaning we want them to find it and put it in the Google results. Because Google's the monster, let's face it. They actually, I believe the latest numbers are, they've been this way for a long time. I think it's 68% of people use Google to find what they're looking for. That's incredible. So we want to make sure that every single page in your store, every single section and item is indexed. And then once we get it into Google, now we want it to rank, right? When somebody searches for a keyword phrase that applies to your products, we want you to rank. So here's the thing. Google also says that even if you choose not to implement any of these suggestions, we strongly, and they say that, we strongly encourage you to pay close attention to the quality guidelines. The quality guidelines are so important that we're actually going to have a separate class for that. That's going to be our part 2, so that we can take a whole hour just to focus on that part. Because the quality guidelines does outline some of these illicit practices that can get you completely removed from Google, or what happens is your site winds up being impacted by what they call an algorithm update. Now here's something really scary. Google does over 400 changes to their algorithm every year. Every single day they are working to make it better. This is what an algorithm update is all about. A lot of people are like, what do you mean algorithm? So an algorithm is basically, I'm looking for a baby bottle warmer, and the search results that come back to me have to be exactly what I'm looking for. It has to be my answer. That's really a theme, you know. It's about being the answer. Think about all the commercials that we see for Google. You know, how do I give a speech? How do I ask a girl out? Think about the commercials for Apple and Surrey. Where do I go to get pizza? And Surrey, what's the weather going to be like? It's all about asking these questions, so you have to be the answer. And so all these algorithm updates are basically trying to sort through all the millions of sites that come across for baby bottle warmer and give me the best result. Because here's the thing. Google doesn't want to show spam. If I'm looking for a baby bottle warmer for my grandchild, I want the best, and I'm going to do my research. And if I can't find what I'm looking for, then I'm going to go to Bing, because Bing keeps saying we're the answer search engine. We have all the answers you need. And so Bing is very slowly rising up, but Google's still the monster. So Google has to make sure that it provides you the answers that you need so that they can stay in business. Think about it. If everybody stopped using Google to search for stuff, Google would eventually go out of business. Nobody's going to pay for AdWords if nobody's even bothering looking or using Google, right? Nobody's going to use their Google shopping. All the money that they're making would be gone if we stopped using Google. So Google has to make sure that it provides the best results. I mean, the very best of the best. So with the old way of doing SEO, and this is something we've covered in our group coaching, that's a couple of slides that I want to go over again, because I don't think these couple of slides can be said enough. It's like if I could put this information on a Post-it note so that you're looking at it every single day, I would. Because the old way of doing SEO is how can I rank for this keyword? The new SEO way is how can I help my visitors for this keyword? Now you may think, well, what does this apply to Google Webmaster Guidelines? The guidelines is basically more information on how you can help your visitors, because that's what it's all about. How can you help your visitors? How can you help them with this keyword? That's what the guidelines are all about. And if you remember that, it will help you to focus on what's important. So really what the goal is somebody does a search. Okay, I'm doing a search for baby bottle warmer, and so what has to happen is Google has to match the expectation and send them to a website that matches the intent of what the customer is trying to do, right? If I am looking for reviews on the best baby bottle warmers, and I come to a site that sells diapers, not only have it not matched my expectation, it hasn't matched my intent, and I'm not going to purchase. When we match expectation with intent, we increase conversions, and when we look at different things that like we look at for our site, and the slide is going a little bit too slow and I apologize but it's like a lot of people think that it's the way we want it or the way your webmaster wants it or, whatever. But you know what? Everything about your website is chosen by your website visitors, because if they don't like it, they're gone. You're going to lose those conversions, because when we don't focus on what's best for them, we lose the traffic, we lose organic rankings, and we lose sales. And that's what these guidelines are all about. What is the best for Google's customer? Because you think about it, everybody that performs a search on Google is Google's customer, right? That's who they don't want to lose. Remember, if they lose too many customers, what happens? They will go to Bing, just like for you guys. If you don't have the answer that your customers are looking for, they're going to say bye-bye, and they're going to go purchase from your competitor. So again, everything that we do, everything that the person who is shopping for an item goes through has to match the goal. What's the goal of the user? What's their expectation? Am I looking for reviews, or am I looking to purchase? Am I looking for a specific brand, or do I have no idea what I want? But once I do have an expectation, then I have to get the intent. What's the intent of my search? And that's how you increase conversions. The other part of it is providing a clear path. And as you're going to see as we go through these guidelines, Google talks about this as well, because there is a path that every single one of your customers has taken in order to land on your website. Think about all the research that goes in. Now, something that I have been working on lately. I use my organizers. I write down my to-do list. I have to have it written down. I have to be able to see it. I get a great thrill from just seeing check marks or highlights. I know that's very dorky, but it's true. And I want to see all the work that I've completed. So I'm looking, and what am I trying to do? I'm trying to find my own planner that's going to work for me. And so I'm doing research, and I'm going out there and I'm trying to get more information. And so when I looked up how to create my own binder, my own to-do list, okay, I ran across a couple of bloggers who help bring awareness and attention to different ways that you can set up these planners. Now they've built up my interest, and I'm like, oh yes, I think I like what you have to offer. And because they've showed me how great it works and they showed me how to use it, it has created great desire, and the action that I took was purchasing their planner because it worked for me. They created the awareness, the interest, the desire, and I took action. And so this is what our goal is for every single person that comes to our website, everybody. So the first step in looking at the Google Webmaster Guidelines, and if you don't know where this page is, just do a search in Google for Google Webmaster Guidelines. Bing has a version of this, Yahoo has a version of it, but really Google's kind of like your monster. And we know that if we follow this, it's really going to apply for many of the other sites that are out there. And really, again, the goal is, we have to get the sale. That's our goal, right? We want the sale. So let's start out. Now, up here, you're going to see something about when your site is ready, submit it to Google or submit a sitemap and make sure that we know about all of your pages. So what we're going to do is we're skipping that part, because how can we submit our site or tell Google to look at our pages if we're not sure that we're following and practicing all the different guidelines that Google has to offer? So let's go ahead and start with design and content guidelines. So the first thing is we want to make sure that we have a site with a very clear hierarchy and text links. So a hierarchy, when you're looking at a website, and, here's a great way to kind of visualize it. Let's do a search. I love doing searches, right? Get some stuff in so we can actually see if our intent is being matched up, right? So if we go and we look at these images, we get an idea about the site's hierarchy. Basically, it all starts with the home page and then goes from there. Now let's go to a live store and look at what would the hierarchy of this page be. It starts out first with the index page, and next we have all of these categories. So from the home page to the categories. And if we're looking at this image, you know how we go from one category and then we head on down. And as a matter of fact, this might even be a, better image to kind of look at, because you'll see sections go down and sections may divide into subsections. Let's look at that on a website. So right here we've got, all right, baby bedding then leads into shopping for the girls, the boys, the neutrals, the themes, and so forth. A really easy way to kind of see this is if you have a custom sitemap on your site. You can kind of get an idea of what's going on. Now, if your page is really, really, really long, or you've got a lot of products, it may be a little bit more difficult to see. I highly recommend having some sort of sitemap set up. The way that this has been custom programmed to do is we've got the main category, the subcategory, and then all of the products within. Now, why is this important? Why do we need links? Why do we need text links? Why is it saying that? If you remember the old legacy version of the Yahoo stores way back when, the left navigation contained images for the left nav. Images. Now, Google's good, and they're trying to start reading images, which is very interesting, but back then, it was really, really difficult. And that's where we have a difficult time. That's where you can't get to the next step. So what they're basically saying is, not only do you need text links going throughout your website, you have to have a link that goes to every single page, because the problem that you have is when Google comes into a site. Have you heard the phrase of spiders your site? Okay, so think about a spider web. Let's bring up a graphic of a spider web, okay? And let's look at the graphic, because I think that this can provide a really wonderful kind of visual for people. Usually what happens, and let's bring in our highlighter. In the center here, it's almost like we've got our home page. Okay, and then you've got section pages. Well, what happens is Google comes into your site and it starts going through these subsections, which then lead back over here, but then might come back over here, and they keep going and going and going. So if you don't have these links going to all of your pages, then what happens is they can't find it. They're not able to crawl your website. They're not able to get in and look around, okay? Not easy at all. So that's what we have to do. We have to provide it clear. So that's why it says offer a sitemap to your user with links to the important parts of your page. And of course, if you have an extremely large number of links, you might want to break up that sitemap into multiple pages. Now, here's another thing that you want to do. Keep the links on a given page to a reasonable number. A reasonable number. Now, for those of you who are in our group coaching and you get these special reports, where you can look and see how many links do I have on a page. Now, you may look at this home page, and I believe for this site it said that it was well over 100. So you're looking at this and you're like, how the heck is there 100 links on this website? Let's kind of just break it down just a little bit so that you can really see what we're talking about when they say how many links are on the page. So right here, there's a free shipping link. Right here, there's a logo. Here's a view cart. Right here, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. There's 7 links right there in this top nav. 1, 2, 3, 4. There's 4 links right there. Let's see. These are 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, and 12 links there. Can you see how they're starting to add up? Now, when Google gets to a page where there's just so many links, it's really hard to tell what's important, what's not important. You know, where should I be going next? So what we want to try to do is we got to make Google happy. You know, we want to try to have our pages focused on what's important. We want to have our pages very, very, very specific. We want to have pages that answer questions. Remember, we have to be the answer. We don't need under the baby bedding, we don't want to have where it's got that baby bedding where it starts listing out all of them, because we really want a page that's focused all about baby bedding. It has its own page. It's very focused. And one more of the links will help to be very focused towards what we're looking to do. So these are things that you want to make sure that you're doing. Now, creating a useful information-rich site and write pages that clearly, accurately describe your content. There have been some big algorithm changes that have gone on lately. And basically what they're doing is if your site's not useful, if you don't have anything unique to share, if you're just another website that's copying all the others, you're not going to get ranked. And there are a lot of sites that recently got hit by this because the site is just fluff. It's fluff. There's no real content to it. There's no real information. You know, we see that the content on the site is duplicated by 5,000 other websites. Let's just kind of take this just to kind of show you. I'm going to do a little search here for bottle warmer. Now, right now, my intent, remember how we talked about intent? My intent is I'm not really sure. We're not sure right now, am I ready to buy or am I doing research, right? And this is why different results are going to come up for me. So we've got the baby bottle warmers where it's more of a section type of page. And this one is a quick serve bottle warmer because maybe I just want to get to it. And then, of course, we have the first year's Baby Pro. It's a little bit different than the one above. And then Target has a little bit here where they're doing night and day. If you notice, though, although this has got the quick serve and we've got the Walmart, which they can get away from this stuff, as I look through this, look at the headlines that are showing. They're a little different in their own way. Here we've got bottle warmer reviews. How to choose the best bottle warmer. Shop bottle warmers. Bottle warmers. Nursery bottle warmer. Buy bottle warmers. Each of these headlines are different except for these two right here. But why would it be that way? Why would these two show up that way? Why would these two be so close together? Look at the number of reviews for this product. From what we can tell, this is probably an item that is purchased, and it's purchased often. It's usually the answer that most people are looking for. 787 reviews. Remember, our goal was to just look up bottle warmers, but what was the intent? At this point, it's unsure. So that's where Google is looking for that unique content. And what the majority of store owners do is they find a sentence or they take the manufacturer's description and they just copy it. Let's try this. Let's just try this one sentence and see how many results come up for that sentence, okay? Wow, 131,000 results. Let's do like an exact. Let's see what happens if we do an exact. 62,300 pages are all using this sentence. So now Google has to decide, well, which one should come first? If they're all doing the same thing, I can't give that to my users, because what would happen if I went to look for that bottle warmer and every single page was this Quick Baby Pro whatever? That's not my intent. I'm not ready for that. That should not be what I'm seeing over and over and over again. And that's what it's talking about in these guidelines. You have to be creating that useful, information-rich website. You have to write pages that are going to clearly and accurately describe your content, and not be copying what everybody else does, because there's already 62,300 pages using this exact same sentence. And the ones that are going to show up first have been around a lot longer than you have. Amazon, diapers.com, speedway.com, Pinterest. That's where you can't compete. But by creating very useful, information-rich websites, you can compete. And if you need help with creating content, you're like, I just don't understand, how do I even come up with this content, or how do I create this content? Then let's do a third webinar after the two about how the heck do you create content that's useful, that's information-rich. Put it in the questions box that yes, you want to do that, and it will be done. Now, let's keep on going. Think about the words that users would type to find your pages, and make sure that your site actually includes those words within it. Now, this is where a lot of people mess up, okay? This is where a lot of people mess up, because now we know that somebody's looking for the bottle warmer. So what do? Well, gee, they're looking for bottle warmers, so we should say we have the best bottle warmers. Our bottle warmers heat up and you don't have to use your microwave. Our baby bottle warmers are so awesome because you can use it in the middle of the night and you won't burn your kid. Okay, we've got it. We understand the words that people are using, but let's be relevant to what they're looking for. If we are trying to rank for best bottle baby warmer, how would we do that? So best baby bottle warmer. First, if this is really a keyword we want to go after, we should do our own search and see what comes up. Because Google's changing this algorithm every day, and they want to make sure that the absolute best result comes up. So what kind of results are they showing? Now, if you look, the advertisements are kind of moved out of the way. Remember when we looked at the baby bottle warmers? Let's go back. Look at how we've got bottle warmers from Sam's Club, Target, all of this, Bed Bath & Beyond, but yet right now we're not seeing any of that. We do see just one up here, but what happened to the sides? This tells me that the intent at this point is a little bit different than our intent when we look at bottle warmers. Remember, we went over the intent, right? So now I'm looking at, okay, I want a review. Let's look at this. Amazon's best sellers, best consumer reviews. Toys R Us that has a rating. Baby Center Forum, what's the best bottle warmer? A blog post. It's settled. The best baby bottle warmer on the planet. Now, if you look, this headline has best bottle warmer in every single one of these. Well, except for the Dr. Brown's. Again, Toys R Us. We understand. But it's interesting that they have best uses on the page. But the rest are really like, okay, we want to know. Now, here's something very interesting. There is one on this page that kind of does it a little bit differently. And the wording that they use is bottle warmer reviews. And then they have best consumer reviews. It's a little bit different. They're still using the same terminology. But let's say that I was to go to that page and it was full of ads and it didn't have anything that I was looking for. And I hit the back button because, oh my gosh, that was awful. Every time the customer does that, it tells Google you were not right for what I was looking for. This is why conversions are so very important. I see a lot of people work with these SEO companies that wind up saying, okay, I'll get you a whole bunch of traffic. And they do, some of them do some pretty crazy stuff to bring in a whole bunch of traffic. But guess what they do? They spam the search engines. They don't focus on the conversions. And the problem with not focusing on the conversions is you have spent all this time, all this money trying to get people to your site only to have them click the back button. So guess what happens at that point? If Google sees enough people clicking the back button, they're bouncing out of your website, right? It's awful. Get me out of here. If enough people do that, this ranking will move down to 5th place, 6th place, 7th place. Because Google's job is to match the intent with the expectation. And so if we're clicking on your link and it doesn't match the intent and it doesn't match the expectation of what they are looking for, then Google will remove you from that result and put something in its place that other people prefer. This is another reason why those quality guidelines are so important and why we'll spend a whole hour on that. And I have several requests for how the heck do you even start creating unique content. So that will be our 3rd week. We will work on that. Now let's go into the next one. The next one is try to use text instead of images to display those important names, content, or links, because the Google crawler, like we said before, it can't recognize the text yet in those images. So when you're using images, what you really want to make sure that you're using is the alt attribute. Alt attribute. It's basically a tag that is used in HTML, and it goes with an element that is image, IMG, and it's called an attribute, and the attribute is alt, and the value should be describing that image. Now, a lot of people will make some big mistakes when they go in to do that. What they might do is put this alt tag as baby bottle warmer, first year's baby pro quick serve, comma, first year's pro serve bottle warmer, comma, different colors, comma. You know, it's ridiculous. We don't want to do that. It needs to be clear and concise. And as much as possible, use text. Use text, use text, use text. Another thing here is to make sure that your title elements and alt attributes are descriptive and accurate. So what the heck is a title element? A title element. So a title is when we go and we look at the source code of your page and we come up here to our title, this is going to tell the search engines what is this page? It should be accurate. It should be short and sweet. It should not be spammy. It should not repeat keywords. And technically what we really would like to do, and this has changed even recently again, because this stuff does change on a normal basis, we want to try to take our keywords that we want to use and combine them to making a complete sentence. Let me give you a great example of this. We were working with in-home medical supply, and we were trying to work on what are some of these keywords that might be used for the male incontinence products. And what we found is that you had male incontinence products, male incontinence supplies, by male incontinence products. There was all these different keywords. So what we did is we took out the duplicate keywords and left what was left over and tried to create something meaningful based upon that. Let me show you what I mean just real quickly. So we've got by incontinence. Oh my goodness, I'm probably going to spell this wrong, but you get the point. So we've got the by incontinence products, and then we've got the incontinence products, and then we have the male incontinence products, and then we had male incontinence supplies. Okay, and so you can kind of see these different keywords that we're looking for. So incontinence products, well, we've already, we've got that in that top line, so get rid of that. Male incontinence, well, male isn't in that first line, so we can leave that, but the incontinence and products are there, so we don't need that. And then male is covered, incontinence is covered, and we're left with supplies. So now the keywords that we're left with from all those different phrases, here are those words kind of singular, okay? Now what we have to do is create, this is our puzzle. This is our puzzle. We have to create a really great headline, and if it helps, a sentence about this page that uses these different keywords. So you kind of got to, that game where you put like all these pieces of papers and you have each word and then you move them around to make a name. Sometimes if it's a page that you really want to rank for, you might even want to try that. Give each word a little, tear out a little piece of paper and put each word on and then try it out. And so eventually what we landed with was by male incontinence products and supplies. Now, it doesn't look spammy. It makes sense. We're using all the keywords that we want to use. So to me, this is a win-win. Now what happens is, because of the custom programming, the title tag pulls that wonderful headline that we just created. So the title is by male incontinence products and supplies. It's to the point, it uses our keywords, and that's what we're looking to do. And when the Google Webmaster Guidelines talks about make sure your title elements are descriptive and accurate, we didn't just put male incontinence. That's not really that descriptive, right? We're not over repeating either. That's very important. Now, check for broken links and correct HTML. If you are using our reports, you actually have this information at your fingertips. And if you don't, I am going to be giving you a site where you can go and check for all these different things. Okay? And it will become a very useful and wonderful page for you guys. So if you're not getting our reports, stay tuned. You will have some really great information. And for those of you that are using our reports, let me just go in and we'll look at a broken link, because I know that I've got some, so I can even show you mine on here. And give me just a second so I can pull that up. All right, so I'm going to completely admit that I am a very, very, very naughty girl when it comes to our website. Our stuff is outdated. Our programming has not been updated in forever. The page is slow. Our portfolio, I think the last time I updated it was maybe a year and a half ago. However, I kind of have this rule that if there's work to be done on your site and it needs to get done, then I shouldn't be working on my site. And so it sits. And when the time comes, when we get to a point where we have time, I'm hoping that never comes, we'll update it. Because if we don't update it, things are good, right? And I like that. So my site has really great, I have some really great stuff that I can show you because there's going to be lots of mistakes. So the site auditor on this page is going to look at our content issues. And so what we can see is one page has low word count, 184 pages have duplicate content issues. Now, a lot of this stuff is really great because you can kind of see what's going on with that and be able to kind of see, okay, how is this duplicated? Well, when we first started, we wanted to add more content to our website. And what we wound up doing is going out to different places and going to like go to article or go article like that and bringing in content to build up our website and to add more content and information. Unfortunately, nowadays, that stuff is, we really don't want it. You know, that's kind of the old outdated way of doing it. And eventually I will go in and delete all of those pages. So those kind of things are going to show up. Now, if you do have these reports that we just love so much, go into your site auditor, click on links, and then up here on the top, click on broken links. And this is going to help you with this, let's see, original website. There's apparently 2 pages where this link is located at. There's another page where this video marketing is in there. So if we kind of look at this, we can see, you know, what's broken and the keywords that have been used and where these links are broken, which is really, really nice to get that kind of information. Because then I can click on this and go, oh, you're right. You know, that is not in there. So these tools can be very helpful in helping you find those kinds of errors. Now, if you decide to use dynamic pages, which the Yahoo store does not do that, thank goodness, dynamic pages are basically, well, they're dynamic. They're kind of created on the fly, you know. We want to use those static pages that are always there, they're reliable, they're ready to go. And the other one here is looking at their best practices for images, videos, and rich snippets. If you're not using rich snippets, that could be a class all on its own. For those of you that don't know, rich snippets basically help provide information in your head tags about certain pages or products. For instance, let's look at the source code of this page. And let me turn on word wrap. So that way we can see kind of what's going on in here. So this is a snippet right here, and we're using what's called open graph tags. They're extremely popular for things like Pinterest, for Facebook, and they're really helpful. Google is really pushing to start having these kind of tags in your store. If it's something that you don't have in your store and you need added, please, you know, let us know. We can talk to you separately about that because I don't like to try to sell us from these things. So please let us know and we'll help you get this set up. So for this particular customer, we really wanted to work on what kind of tags we were going to put out there. So we used the OG title to give the name of the product, and we used the OG image to set up where the image could be used. Have you ever gone where, let's say that, and I'm sure that it happens on our website, you're like, ooh, I want to share this, okay? And so you go to Facebook and you're like super excited because you're going to share this. So I'm going to share my page. And then you go to share it, and have you ever noticed how, the image is like, wait a minute, maybe that's not the image I wanted to use, and this title, maybe that's not the title that I wanted. And this really happens a lot, especially with blogs, and it's like, it's not doing the right image, or it's not giving the right information. That's where these tags come into play, because it tells them exactly which image to use. It lets the search engines know that the property of this is a type and the content is product. It has meta information for the URL. It has meta information for the price and the currency, the site name, the availability, which is a big one. And all of this information helps to provide more information. So that's something that you want to make absolutely sure that you have for your site are those rich snippets. A lot of people say, well, when you look up the bottle warmer, and it's got, when we looked up before and it had here the Walmart one with the rating and the price and the in stock, do you want to know how that got there? Using rich snippets. That's how it got there. So if you're wanting your products to show up the same, you got to have those rich snippets. Now for the images, big thing that you want to remember is optimize and compress those images. Again, that can be in a whole other class, but speed is so very important when it comes to your website, and that we'll go through a little bit more next week when we go into the quality. Now, some of the technical ones here we'll go through kind of quickly because some of them may apply to you and some of them may not. Okay, so one of them is use a text browser to examine your site, because most search engine spiders see your site as basically a Linux computer would, and it can't read certain things. So this is where I'm going to go ahead and give you guys one of my favorite tools, and here it is for you guys to pull up. Go to feedthebot.com. feedthebot.com. And since I'm picking on myself, let's go pick on myself a little bit more. Ooh. Because I know I'm breaking all kinds of rules right now. All right, so I'll put in mine and go. Now, the great thing about this is that as you're going through those guidelines, it helps give a little bit more information about each one of them, and also has some really great tools that you can use. So let's take a look at my summary and what's coming up. So site not following these Google guidelines. It's saying that the sitemap navigation page for visitors guideline. So if I go to my page and I look up sitemap, well, it is showing up, and it's showing up there. So if you run into some of this kind of stuff, which I do see often with a lot of tools, and you're kind of like shaking your head, it's like, well, wait a minute, I've got that on there. It is going to happen. This is not a tool that's going to give you absolutely 100% of what's going on with your website. If you're wanting to get more really good details on your website, then that is something that you might want to pay to get those monthly reports, because those will be very helpful to help you with some of that. But it does help you it does help you with some of the other things going on. So for instance, I know that I have a big problem with the alt tags on our page and also with the image links because it uses a lot of images on my home page. As a matter of fact, let's just kind of go check it out. This here is a banner for our HTML and CSS class, and then we've got the slideshow. There's also images that go through the steps, through the levels, through our newsletter, customer testimonials, and so on and so on and so on. These were also added at a time where it was using more images instead of CSS like we would today. But again, yeah, one day I'll get to go in and go ahead and update that. And then if we go further down the page, you know, of course, we have some of our partners that we work with as far as the Yahoo store and our toolbar or eMerchant or PayPal or BuySafe. So all of that is within. So those are different images that are coming up. Now the site where we need to kind of work a little bit better is the amount of links on the page. Yeah, that's a good one. Dynamic links guidelines. That's coming from some of the banners and links that we have on our page, so that's something. Page speed guideline. That's a big one, absolutely, that I know that is awful on our site. And then it talks about paid links guidelines, which that one is kind of interesting. And if you, by the way, if you go down, you can actually see where it has, you know, several empty alt tags, find missing alt tags with the image tool. So you can actually click on those and get more information. If you're trying to find like dynamic links, where am I using dynamic links? It shows, you know, very specifically, here it is for the search, Yahoo, and for our AdWords Professional. So it's really great. There's a lot of great tools, and I highly recommend it. All right. Next one, allow search bots to crawl your site without session IDs that track their path. Here's the thing that's been going on with that. There's a lot of these, like there, you know, right now we can't see what keywords people are using to find your website, because basically what happened is national security came to Google and said, you have all this information about this person and I want it. And there's this whole privacy issue. So what's happened over the course of a couple of years now is that Google is not keeping that data. And when you try to find out, well, what keywords are people using to come to my website, it says not defined, because they're trying to issue the privacy. Now, there are some tools that you can use that do these like session IDs and it tracks it, but that's not something that you want the search bot to do. So that one you want to be extremely careful about. Most of the people here don't have to worry about that. Hold on just a second. Make sure your web server supports if modified by, which is basically going to tell the search engines, this is when I last modified my page. Now, there is one thing that I absolutely love for Yahoo stores that I highly recommend, and that is having a featured special in the left navigation bar. The reason why I love that so much is because I can go in and change this product on a normal basis, and then what happens is it goes in and shows Google that we're updating every single page in our store, and that gets updated. So that way, it lets Google know that your content has changed since they last crawled your site, and it becomes where the Google will start crawling your site more often. Make sure of use of your robot's text file in the Yahoo store. You unfortunately do not get access to that robot text file. Laura asked, how often do you suggest to do that? Changing over the left nav? I would recommend at least doing it once a week. There are some people that do like a daily special, and they change it out daily, but they are very consistent with changing it daily, and they make sure that they kind of stay on target with that. What I would recommend is, if you're a list person like I am, I've kind of built up a social calendar that I've been using. Let me just kind of show you calendar, and if you guys want, I will share once. I'm still kind of working it out, but let's try going it this way. Because I have realized that I have done a very bad job of blogging, and I used to love to blog. And so I've been so going bat crazy that I haven't done a very good job of that. So here's what I did is I created myself a social planner for the week of, and I'm going in a series for my blog so that way I can make sure that I'm updating the information. And so one of the things that you could do is switch out one of these columns to say, the product, and then maybe have where you change the products on certain days and use this to keep track. But just so you guys can kind of see, the way that I've kind of scheduled this is Monday is keyword day. That's where a blog post will be written that talks about, a keyword that we're trying to rank for. Tuesday is share day, which is basically go out, find something really cool, talk about it with, why is it cool, and share the information. Wednesday is fun day, and that is basically something that you see, an image that is funny, a meme that's funny, a funny story, a contest, something of that nature, and then repeat. Keyword, share, fun, keyword. And the beauty of using a planner like this is that you really can set this stuff up, let's say on Sunday, that you want to write out all of your blog posts for the week and schedule them out and be done. This will allow you to do that, as well as make sure that you've done the blog, the Facebook, the Twitter, the Google+, and the date that it all went live, and there's tools for that. And so anyway, it's something that I'm using, so if you create your own and find it helpful, that may be a good way, because what I really want you to do is, if you're changing those left nav specials, do it on a consistent basis. If it's every Monday, then try to keep it within that 24-hour period. Okay, make reasonable efforts to ensure advertisements do not affect your search engine rankings. Have you ever been to a site where all of a sudden there's ads everywhere? There was one, Realtor.com. Mike and I love to go to Realtor.com because we love living out in Michigan and land. We only have 15 acres, and eventually we want to have a whole lot more. But I went into this site one time, and it was so very strange because all of this background stuff kept coming up, and there were ads here, and then there were ads down here. Another one that does this often is like movies.yahoo.com. There's all kinds of these background graphics with different images that kind of pop out at you. Oh my gosh, did they change this and make it very, very ugly? Oh, yuck. Yuck, yuck, yuck. Anyway, you get the idea, right? You go to these pages and it looks like it's just so much. When you've got too many ads going on and they're all over the place, not only is it difficult for the search engines, but it's really difficult for your customers as well. If your company buys a content management system, make sure that the system creates pages and links that search engines can crawl. There's some of these different systems out there that are just, you got to be careful with different software that you're using. Make sure that it is search engine friendly. I like using, if I'm going to do any kind of putting out content, then I use Blogger. I know a lot of people love WordPress. I love WordPress too. If I were making just a plain site that did not have my Yahoo store, then I would use WordPress for that. But if not, I want Blogger. And the reason is that WordPress, you have to make sure that you update the security patches on a regular basis. And that can be once a week where you're downloading and updating upgrades. And if you don't do this, then hackers can get in and destroy your blog. They can just make it so that your blogs have malware on it, and it can be a great big mess, and it's a huge pain in the butt, whereas Blogger is owned by Google, so usually I can find my blog post within an hour. Google has got it all set up where there are no updates, there are no upgrades, or anything like that. You are a store owner selling products, not a blogger. So I say use a blog that is simple and easy to use. Next one, test your site to make sure that it appears correctly in different browsers. You know, you would be amazed at how a site can change by going from Firefox to IE. So make sure that you're testing different browsers. Test in the absolute 3 that you absolutely should check is Chrome, Firefox, and IE, Internet Explorer. If you have a lot of Mac users that are coming to your site, which actually would be Apple iPhones too, make sure you're checking on Safari as well. We'll talk a little bit more about that mobile stuff next week. Monitor your site's performance and optimize load times. I cannot tell you how important this is. You know, Google says it's their goal to provide users the most relevant results, but with the greatest user experience. And that's what we're going to go over next week is those user experience. Fast sites increase user satisfaction and improve overall quality of the web, especially for people who have slow internet connection or they're using their mobile phone. So what they recommend is you use tools. Page speed, why slow, web page test, make the web faster, you know, your site performance tool. We're going to, you know, I'll focus on this for just a moment before we end. I cannot tell you how much speed is a factor in your rankings. Do go to, and I know my site's going to fail awful as we spoke about, but go and do a search for your page speed score, enter your URL, and look at the data. It's been so interesting because when we have done our a speed optimization service on a website, I have seen some stores where they've just seen a little bit of a boost. I've seen other stores that have had a 40% increase in traffic and sales. The difference, based upon all of my research and all the stores that we've been doing the speed optimization to, a lot of it has to do with the competition. A lot of it has to do with what's going on with the other websites. That's another big factor. How much of an increase are we doing? I have seen very consistently that once we raise this mobile score, that we see a lot more traffic coming in from mobile users into that site. And the reason being is that if you do a search on a desktop for, let's say, baby bottle warmer, and then you do that exact same search on your mobile phone, Google has been placing sites that are optimized for mobile higher up than what you would normally see on the desktop. And that's where we're really seeing like an awesome increase are these mobile users that are using their phones and tablets that now you're starting to get all of these rankings for the mobile and for the tablet because you've increased your speed. So this is one of those things that I say, check your scores, and if you're not in, you know, especially the desktop, if you're not in the green mode and you're not in the 90s, or your mobile, you're not like up there in the green mode either, send me an email. Let me look and see what's going on. And the best way to describe it, and I can show you this on our website so you can kind of see what's going on. the whole like wireframe of our website was done probably in 2000. Gosh, when did we update this? Probably 2008, 2009 was the last time we did that. A wireframe is basically you've got your header, your left nav, and your footer. The wireframe does not change from page to page. It's basically the same. And so if I were to go in and look at this code, and let me show you. At the time that we built this website, it was best to use tables to make sure that our logo was over here, our live support was here, our newsletter was set up here, the search bar's here, top navigation. So you'll see that it is just littered with tables, and that was absolutely 100% the way that it was supposed to be done. And as a matter of fact, if you go and you look at the document type up here, Yahoo recently made some changes, thank you, to their document type so that it would allow for more CSS tags. You know, another thing that we've done on this site that is now considered to be a big no-no is using more of like HTML within the site. So that's where you'll find a HTML tag for bold and the HTML tag for font color. This was perfectly acceptable not too long ago. Oh, now it's saying I've been disconnected from audio. Am I still here? Are we still good? Uh-oh. Uh-oh. Connection lost. No. Oh. Oh. No. Oh boy, I hope I'm still here. Can you hear me now? Uh-oh. Okay, hang on. Hang on. Ah! Ooh, this is saying that it's connected. Are we? Oh boy. Let's see. Can you guys hear me now? Am I here? Am I here? Am I here? Yikes. All right. Woo! You can hear! Yay! Okay. Sorry about that, guys. So sorry. So sorry. Yikes. Okay. I'm not sure what's going on, but we're going to try to get this fixed. Let's see if we can do this. Let's see if I'm still here and active and okay. Woohoo! Thank you guys. Sorry about that. Yay. We've got like some weird weather going on, and I've noticed my internet has been acting wacky all day, so we better hurry up, right? So, all right, so I'm using these HTML tags, and thank you guys for helping me know that I'm here, so thank you. I'm using bold, and I'm using font color, and this all used to be really great, but here's the problem. Look at when I look at this like source code. Do you see how long it is? And then the other thing is, look at all the coding that it has to be put into place before it even gets to my content, which starts down here under the slideshow. And again, this used to be, this is the way that we did it at that time. But here's what I want you to think about when it comes to the speed of your website. And is this really a big deal? How many of you have turned in your old phone and gotten a new one, and you're like, oh my gosh. Or you trade in your laptop for a new one, you trade in your PC for a new one, and all of a sudden it's like, wow, this is much faster. Wow, this takes better pictures. Wow, I can do this faster. I can do that faster. Well, this is what happens. If you look at a cell phone from 5 years ago and the pictures and the pixels, it's completely different from the Samsung 5 that has just come out. The Samsung 5 that has just come out has commercials of people putting the phone under their sink and washing it. That's a big change. Technology changes. And what most store owners don't realize is as technology changes, as we get more tablets, as we get more mobile phones, as we get, these different PCs, everything that uses those has to change, including the browsers that we use on those devices. As a matter of fact, Firefox 30, I think, just came out, if I'm not mistaken. Let me double check. Yeah, Firefox, it's in the process of downloading an update right now. Hopefully it doesn't. But yeah, we were just at 29, version 29, and version 30 has already come out. Version 30. Now, these guys are updating on a regular basis. 9 years ago, I think we were using Internet 7 or 8. Now we're at Internet, IE 11. Technology has to change to go with the devices. So if your website has a slow page speed score because your programming has not developed as much as new technology has, you're going to start showing lower and lower in the search engines because it's not providing a good user experience. So watch these page speed scores, watch your compressions, work on optimizing those images, and bring that speed, let's bring it up. We want the speed of the website up and the downloading time of your website to come down. I can't stress enough how important this one is, guys. Very, very, very important. And as we go through the quality updates next week, you'll see a little bit more of that. And we'll go ahead and end it there. Now, in about an hour, you will receive a link to register for the next Google Webmaster Guidelines. If you are on our website, and I'll just go ahead and post it right now. I'll put the link up with the replay, and I'll set up the blog early, so this way if you want to sign up for the next webinar, you can. But you'll get a link in your thank you for coming that has for part 2, where we're really going to go over those quality guidelines. And then after that, we'll set up our third one, since we had such a wonderful request, and just have a very specific class on how in the heck do you create content that is unique. There's only so many ways that you can say black fuzzy sock. Even if you have it in all colors, it can be very difficult. So, we understand that. We get it. We definitely want to help you, to get that taken care of. So, give me just a second. Guidelines, part 1, replay, and link to part 2. And I'll just set this up for you guys. That should be live right now. Let me hit publish. Replay coming soon. There's the link to sign up for part 2. That way, if you guys want to just do it now while you're thinking about it, What you'll want to do is, if you're on our main site, click on Yahoo Store Tips. That will take you over to our blog, or you can go to blog.onechoiceforyourstore.com, and the very first blog post you see will say Google Webmaster Guidelines Part 1 Replay and link to Part 2. This is where we'll put in the replay information, and you can also click on the link to sign up for Part 2, which is next week at 2 p.m. Eastern, and I'm looking forward to it. So thank you so much, guys, for coming today. Don't forget to check out feedthebot.com. We'll go over that a little bit more next week and some of the great tools that you can use, but I highly recommend go to it and click on tools because there's so much cool stuff. And if you guys want like a homework assignment, here's my homework assignment for you guys. Click on the SEO page spider. Do that. All right. Do that. And also go in and look at your page speed. Go in and look at that and see how many requests are going on. Do a check to see if you've got gzip compression going on, and also the CSS delivery tool that will help to give you some really great information. And then the other one that you definitely should try out with a little bit more time is the link report no follow tool. Just kind of get an idea of what kind of links are showing up on your page. I'll go ahead and write those specific ones on the blog when I post the replay, so that way you know which ones that you should really check out. And I guess we'll close this out since there are no other questions. I apologize for my internet shooting out over there. And for those of you who are in our HTML and CSS class, I will see you guys tonight. For those of you in group coaching, see you tomorrow. And for those of you that are joining us just for this today, I do hope I get to see you again next week. Thank you, everybody, and have an awesome, awesome day. And thank you for being here. Bye. Oh, Marilyn, you just gave me like the best compliment. Thank you. Marilyn said, thank you so much. You are down to earth and make this understandable. Some of this geek talk is like, what? It's like talking to a doctor, you know? It's like, you've got this. What? Just tell me. I understand. So thank you again, and thank you, and thank you, and thank you, and thank you, and thank you. All right, we'll close this out. Bye, everybody.